Well, hello there. It is good to see you on this call. I'd like to introduce our good friend, John Cullen, who is a youth pastor at Lorne Park Baptist Church. Welcome,
Thank you for
John.
having me. Thank you. Good afternoon, Alvin. Thank you.
So, I'm curious. I mean, last few weeks, as you've been working with your youth group and stuff, what have you seen change in your youth so far since March break?
Yeah, the last few weeks have been crazy. We've been learning new technologies, uh, learning new ways to connect. I've been trying to find ways to connect with my youth
Mm-hmm.
and learning new social channels that I may have not been familiar with before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've been trying to kind of find that one way to be able to connect, because relationships really comes down to, in the end of this, is all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be able still to connect with the kids, and the people who I can mentor, my leaders, and continue to mentor, continue to lead, and create those relationships still. So that's the main thing that's changed, is how we can continue to build those relationships in this time.
So, what kind of platform do you find is most consistent with them?
uh, yeah, that's the fun thing. And I would recommend for any youth pastors, find what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
The platform. Unfortunately for me, I've got probably three different groups. One that uses Discord, so I've got five guys, more of a gaming community on
Mm-hmm.
Discord. I've got Instagram for a few girls, and a few guys. And then for my leaders, I've got Facebook. Um, but the one platform that I was able to connect them with is Zoom. And so we do all of our meetings. We still meet on Tuesday nights, just like we would at the church. And we still do games. And at first, I had just started with games. So Tuesday nights was strictly Jeopardy or strictly a scavenger hunt. And I was able to find resources through other youth pastors or conferences, webinars, Zoom hangouts online, and found games that worked best for my group. And that was if the student had a computer or an iPhone or an iPod or iPad, that they were able to Zoom in or use their family computer for that hour of the evening.
Mm.
And it's started out about an hour. So Zoom is, I'd say, like the main go-to for now, because it's real time and I get the most connectivity and the most people engaging at
Okay.
that time.
Okay. So, tell me a couple of different successes you've had so far in the last few weeks.
Well, since becoming more comfortable with Zoom, I've now have 3 days of my week full with different activities.
Okay.
So one of my gifts is that I've got a collection of puppets.
Mhm.
So about a few weeks ago, I delivered puppets to like a bunch of my youth, and so they all have one puppet, each of the, or most of them do, at their home, and they're all in their own bin, and they all have their own little contract on top of the bin saying that no animals, no dust, no
Yep.
food near the puppets. Um, and then the last 3 weeks, we've been tuning in over and lying down on the floor, sticking our hands in the air, and doing songs, practicing some skits. And the potential is there that the kids can practice some writing, or if there was a song they really liked. I'm
Mm.
not. I have some like church puppet stuff that works really well. But if they wanted to test the waters and do Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, or if they really liked a song by, I don't know, then we could explore what that looks like, and I'd be open to that.
Have they done
The
any
challenge,
TikToks yet, or?
you know what? Oh, and TikTok is like, I've got one student out of my 20
Mhm.
um, consistent people who use TikTok, and
Mm.
I don't find I need to connect on TikTok, and they don't want to use their puppets for TikTok,
Oh,
which
okay.
is surprising. um, so yeah, we're not making TikToks actually.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it's been kind of fun. that's been a success.
Mm.
So I have engagement there. There's about 7 of us, which is a great number. I can manage that over Zoom. Um, and Tuesday nights now, I at first I struggled with getting my leaders to participate. I think it was just them getting more comfortable with online learning,
Mm.
exams kind of coming in, their end of school term changing to online was a lot of work. Um, so getting them involved on my Tuesday night calls was difficult at first. So now that exams are finished, a success is that they're beginning to participate on my Tuesday night calls.
Mm.
And at first, I have my panel of 15 to 20 kids, and I go through, hey, Ben, how are you? Hey, Sam, how are you? And we would talk through how things are going. But now that I've got leaders, I break us off into breakout rooms through that feature on Zoom.
Mm.
And that's so good. I spend now half the amount of time um, with them in their smaller groups, building those relationships, which is my key ingredient right now. And so now they can connect. So they spend about 15 minutes in those breakout rooms, just talking about what they're eating, what they're watching, or what they're doing, and how they're liking school. And then we come back to a bigger game of Jeopardy or whatever those are. That's a great success. So that's night 2. And night 3, we were now into our second week of our Bible study. We just started reading the book of Acts.
Okay.
I found a really good resource. I inherited my office at Lauren Park, and came with it a bunch of books. So I found a book on Acts in my office,
Oh, okay.
started reading through the chapters, and it was one of 4 books that I found. I had a Romans, a Revelation. So I had a few books for opportunities,
Mm.
and we've been working through Acts. So now we're going to read Acts from beginning to end, and we're going through every chapter and every well, not every verse, that would take forever, but yeah, the themes. Um, that's been happening on Tuesday nights, and I'm getting, on Wednesday nights, and I could be happy with like 3 kids. I'm getting about 6 to 9.
Okay.
And it's not about numbers, because I just enjoy like the smaller relationship building in those groups. If I was to, this is my second week of doing this book.
Mm.
If I was to do it again, I would find something pre-made. I would find a curriculum online with PowerPoint slides, and then tailor to myself, to my group. I'm doing that already. I'm going through and picking out, like I've got like things crossed out and underlined that I want them to know throughout the chapter. So I am making it my own and making the slides out of the book, which has been great. So I expect to do that for 6 to 7 weeks. So that's
Okay.
my week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then staff meeting Thursday. And that usually kicks off a bit of work to do for our Sunday morning, whether it's preparing slides or preparing prayer or whatever.
Mm.
So yeah, it's been a big learning experience using Zoom. And the way Bible study works is we'll study a small portion of verses, and then I'll have usually a question that I can ask the group. And just like Tuesday night or any youth group meeting, if you just ask them the question to the group, most of the time no one will answer. So then I'll have to say like, okay, Ben, like, what does it mean when you let the Holy Spirit come and control you? Like, what does that actually mean to you? And so when you directly single out a few kids, that helps. And that helps on a Tuesday night even at youth group.
So how have
So
you found, especially with the Bible studies, right? I mean, leading a Bible study in person with a group of people versus leading on Zoom, how have you found your I guess your leading style changing?
honestly, I think I prefer Zoom to being in person.
Okay.
I was chatting with our family minister last week, and like, what practices can we continue after being on Zoom? And
Hmm.
not just for Bible study, but for Sunday mornings. Like when you're producing Sunday mornings, like it's pretty clear cut. You can't have any dead space. So like how can we then replicate that into when we get back to the church? So
Hmm.
like maybe practice, like if we're praying, have the next person the worship band coming up to them play the song. There's no dead space, so to speak. But for Bible study, I screen share all of my PowerPoint presentations, so it's big and clear on their screens.
Hmm.
The breakout rooms, like I have a smaller group right now, but you could then go into breakout rooms for each question. You could like, so moving back into normal life, I think I may even continue doing Bible studies on over Zoom. It allows flexibility for my kids. I can have more kids, like more people involved. Um, so yeah, like I found my teaching style the same. I'm still pulling videos from YouTube. I'm still engaging with questions, um, and still doing point form like slides that don't have too much text, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so, in terms of feedback from your youth right now, what are they saying about how how this whole kind of setup has been for the last few weeks?
Yeah. Um, the few weeks, the first 3 weeks when they didn't have anything to do, they felt very lost. And when school then started, they enjoyed that they just had like purpose. They and then to that point, like how can we continue that purpose into youth group? So it's that ownership kind of thing. So for example, the Discord channel that was created for our youth group, the few students that worked on that really engaged with that building of that platform.
Hmm.
So I think like just to continue to engage with purpose, whether it is writing letters to the local hospital or healthcare center or senior center, like I think that kind of that meaning for them is really important.
No, I like the way that you phrased that. The idea of helping them engage with purpose. No, I think that's great. And it'll be neat to see, like you said, how this develops even beyond whenever these things change, right?
Mhm.
What has that discussion been like with your youth leaders or maybe others in your church?
What the future looks like for us. Um, I can tell you, like, I think things are changing so fast and
Hmm.
the in crowd like meetings, and I don't know if we'll be meeting together next month or in September.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I don't know what that future looks like. So I'm trying to get us comfortable and confident in what we're doing. Puppets in person is a lot better than puppets on the computer. Um, for that same reason, for Sunday morning, I've got a higher expectation of things being filmed than I do when it's in person.
Hmm.
So I if the puppets aren't popping up and down at the right same time, then we'll redo it. And when you're in person, you can forgive that.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the struggle is lag time. I mean, puppets during a pandemic. Oh man. So like it was yesterday we were practicing. I'm like, oh man, like your puppet's not popping up. He's like, I'm popping up at the right time. It's just laggy for me because his screen's like, and we're
Yeah.
all ahead. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. I think moving forward, like just learning how to be confident in what we're in right now, and then maybe there's something that carries forward, whether it's online, definitely not youth group, but for sure like Bible study. I could
Hmm.
see that as something that would like to continue.
And how has the last few weeks influenced even your own either approach or your understanding of ministry?
Hmm. It's been a lot of reflecting and listening, learning from others who are in the same boat. So meeting regularly with youth pastors, tuning into webinars, um, which has kind of reinforced some things that I'm already doing. Um, I the few takeaways that I've had from those is quick, simple, and fun, um, which is why I'm doing 3 nights. And I know, um, and I have different kids all 3 nights, so it's not the same group, which is nice as well, because I'm not straining really anyone. Um, unless they want to come all 3 nights, then of course,
Yeah.
they're welcome to. And then, so quick, simple fun has been something that I've learned, but that fits for this platform for sure. I've been engaging with a lot of resources, and then also considering safety online. And that definitely fits this context of, at first, like we kind of all just jumped in and was like, this is how we have to do it. This is what we should do. But now that we're into a kind of a flow, I'm really stepping back and looking at safety of myself. Like if it's just me with a Zoom room, so to speak, or if it's me and like a moderator or like my team in that space with me, or do I record the whole session or whatever it is. So safety, and then that transfers over to like projecting for camp in the summer, and that's another thing. And then things that I knew already, like I want to play to my students' strengths. So if they're great writers or if they're great at art, playing to those strengths and how we can engage those kids still. Giving everyone a voice, just as good still on a Tuesday night when we do youth group, when I've got a bigger screen with more people involved in the call, still calling out individuals. Even if the one kid looks like he's playing Minecraft off to the side, I still call him out and be like, hey, it's your turn up to like
Yep.
the Jeopardy board, pick your number, pick the category. So some practices transfer over online, and then some of them are brand new, like safety practices and quick, simple fun is a big one. Yeah, I'd say that.
Nice. You know, as we're wrapping this up, you know, if you were to give like a one word of encouragement to those who are watching this, what would it be?
Patience. Because there's been days where I'm exhausted and I know that it's not going to work, and then I'll have youth group, come out of youth group, and I'll be encouraged. Whether it's most of the kids sign off except for one who wants to stay back and just have a chat, or I had one week where a friend, one of the kids asked if he could bring a friend next week. I'm like, oh, a friend, like to Zoom, like online? He's like, yeah, do you mind if I invite some friends? I'm like, this is the weirdest context to meet a new youth kid, but yeah, like, of course, bring them along. So patience, because there'll be really great successes in the relationships that you're building, hopefully, and then there'll maybe times that you'll feel very lonely. And that's when pulling to your community and your friends and your leaders and your staff at your church to support each other.
Oh, that's great. That's very helpful. Well, thanks for your time, John. Thanks for spending some time to help us to see, you know, bits of your world, but also I think some of the things that you brought up have been great insights and great reminders. So appreciate your time.
Hey, my pleasure. And any time that anyone needs to chat about anything, or any resources that we've talked about, I'm happy to share, or ways to accomplish any of that stuff. All
Sounds
right, thanks,
good.
Alvin.
All right. Thanks again.